Come on in.
Ah, there's my 4 a.m. appointment. Well, good morning. A little late, aren't we? That vampire have a hard time getting you here? Did you make things difficult for him? Didn't want to wake up this morning? See the pill in your spoonful of peanut butter? Or, actually, maybe it was him who made things harder for you, Lisa said he was known to take his time, be a bit fickle. Oh, but don't worry, I'm not mad, I promise. It ain't your fault. Go on then, have a seat. No? You're content to stand there all by your lonesome? Might get a little chilly over there by the vent. And would you look at that, already shivering. Poor thing. I can turn up the heat if you'd like. No? Everything's good? You nod. But it don't really look like it. Oh well, if you insist on being shy, I suppose I can be polite and take the initiative. After all, I was emailed a cheat sheet with your information last night. It's locked, you know. The door, darling. You're thinking quite loud over there. It ain't gonna open no matter how hard you stare at it. And if I'm being honest, I'm a little hurt you're trying to leave without even letting me introduce myself. Didn't your mother ever teach you manners? What an unbecoming thing you were turning out to be. But I might be able to look past my wounded ego if you sat down and had a little chat with me, yeah? There we go. Thank you, sweetheart. What's wrong? You're looking a little lost. When do you come over here? Well, I asked nicely. You just thought it was the right thing to do. What? Don't you remember? Nothing gets past you lot. Couldn't humor me for 5 seconds, could you? You immune sure are something. Oh, but wait. You're not immune anymore, are you? Oh, don't look so surprised. I mean, you did walk all the way over here just because I said so. Having a hard time saying no these days? A shame, really, that this would happen to little old you, huh? A fine, law-abiding citizen. Says you've got a squeaky clean record for the most part. Not a part of that damned vampire resistance group. Not associated with any of those nasty hunters out there in the East. You're just you, then? Unremarkable. Not that there's anything wrong with being unremarkable. I mean, mediocrity is safe. Mediocrity is supposed to keep you away from situations like this. From people like me. But, oh well. Here we are. And what are we to do? My, how rude of me. I was about to go on my long-winded spiel about introducing myself. Would you believe that? Most folks just call me VonCerin. I'm one of this region's leaders. Head of Hemo Corp and the Human Vampire Relations Committee. I'll be your new keeper for the rest of your mortal life. Maybe. But I'll get to that in just a minute. I see a distinct lack of a name on this little cheat sheet of mine. Would you be so kind as to enlighten me? Why do you look so shocked? I feel it's only right to learn the name of my new charge. That's a lovely name. I'd say it rolls off the tongue, but... well... anyways, since there's quite a bit to discuss before we get into the thick of it, do you have any questions you want to ask? See, darling, if I could, I would. But, my hands are a bit tied with you, you see. You were given to me as a present of sorts. That's right, a present. You're a little rough around the edges, sure. But who am I to look a gift horse in the mouth? I'm sure with a little bit of elbow grease we can make this work. Actually, that's why you're here with me in particular. Well, you're on the right track. Glad you got your wits about you, that's good. The Vampire Council have been working on a way to keep y'all strays in check for a long time now. With varying degrees of success. Most humans are easy to shepherd. You just ask them real nicely and they do whatever you ask them to. You say sit, they sit. Stay and they stay. However, the rest of you lot are a real pain. Not all of you, obviously. I mean, look at your record. But unfortunately, people like you are an outlier. So we've been trying a couple things to keep your kind under wraps. Exactly, you're getting it. That lovely gentleman gave you a vaccine we've been working on. It's supposed to suppress your immunity to our influences. It's not permanent and certainly not perfect by any means. Yet. But that's where you come in, darling. We needed to place someone in a controlled environment to work out all the kinks. And as it so happens, I needed a new food source. I get to note down everything wrong with you, and in exchange I get a shiny new sustenance. Sounded pretty good to me. Oh, don't look at me like that. Realistically, what did you think was going to happen to you? It's not like anyone planned on letting you go. If anything, I'm the best option you got. Let's think about this together for a second. What kind of life were you living before? You go to work, are promptly unappreciated and underpaid by your vampiric superiors. Come home, back to your empty one-bedroom, sleep, and rinse repeat. That don't sound much like living to me. You know what they say about the definition of insanity, after all. Sounds like you're more like a prisoner out there than you'd ever be with me. How's that any different? Well, I'd argue it's much better. But maybe I'm biased, who knows. I'd figure it goes without saying, but you're fully covered. All expenses paid by yours truly. Since you're not leaving my side until we feel we've gathered enough data, you've got no reason to work. Not that we'd let you leave, obviously. But why would you want to? We've got dental. Now that's more like it. Willing to hear me out then? Fantastic, fantastic. Glad we didn't have to do anything we'd both regret. So, here's how this is gonna work. Everything in that lovely manila folder is all you need to know about this position. It ain't everything, obviously, but it'll do for now. You could take a closer look at all that later. I'll go ahead and give you the clip notes. As I said before, you will be staying with me. I've got room in the penthouse suite that's been freed up. You'll be allowed to bring any personal belongings you see fit, but let it be known you won't be allowed to enter your home again. lest we risk a little accident. You don't look like the type to make much of a fuss, but it's better safe than sorry. Make a list of what you need. I'll have some spawn fetch it for you. Just make sure to have permission in writing. We can't enter your home without it, after all. Your report says you didn't put the mandated welcome mat at your door, which makes it a bit harder for us to just waltz in. Smart. Risky if anyone looked too closely, but smart. Wonder what yours says instead. No, we don't need your address. It's cute that you think we didn't already have all your personal information, but I appreciate you being so cooperative. You're definitely improved from when we first started talking. Anyways, moving on. Next is your diet. Oh no, don't look at me like that. This ain't about appearances, darling. It's just about your iron content, that's all. For longevity and all that. Right. You may or may not be anemic now, but you certainly will be in a week's time. Which is mighty inconvenient for the both of us. I have to wait longer to feed, and you'll feel like death. So I'm putting you on an iron-rich diet and vitamin supplements. Stuff that works with your medical and dietary needs. I need you to go over these here, here, and here. Make sure everything is looking as it should. Not that I have any doubts. Perfect. It's all yours. Due to the nature of my agreement, I have to monitor you. Make sure the meds are working as they should and all that. But you'll be tagging with me whenever we're out of the suite for the day. Business meetings, public appearances, cross-region trips, etc. Nothing will be expected of you other than your best behavior and the occasional snack. Unless you want to count conversation. I do hate being bored. I wish I could give you a concrete answer, but vampire feedings are a bit sporadic. Hunger strikes when it strikes. You can expect once a day at the most. Maybe twice if I've had to expand a lot of willpower. That being said, the more you force my hand, the more willpower I will use to keep you in check. So, if you're going to be a thorn in my side, make sure to be prepared for the consequences. And I don't even count what I'd do without needing to feed. Well, yes, darling, I need you alive. Alive doesn't mean I can't remind you of your place when it's applicable. Spare the rod, spoil the child, as they say. What's with that face? What? Did you forget who I was for a moment, sweetheart? Bless your heart. I'm not even pushing. This stuff is quite potent, ain't it? I guess getting strung along takes some getting used to. You don't know what it's like to not be on equal footing in a conversation. That's fine. I don't mind being patient. Though I will say, you're kind of acting like you've never talked with a vampire before. Is talking to us while, shall we say, under the influence, all that different? You know, I wouldn't really think so. But then again, it's not like I had any sort of immunity to my kind back when I was your age. Or human, rather. I guess it's sort of hard to notice a difference if I'm the one pointing out your eagerness to comply, right? Gracious alive, you're looking worse for wear. Feeling under the weather? Do you need a drink? Oh, don't go beating yourself up about it, darling. It's just the natural order of things. You're just getting put right where you should be. Nothing to be ashamed of. Like I said, you're just gonna need time to be acclimated. Existentialism isn't something you should worry your pretty little head over. That's too much thinking for someone of your station. You're quite welcome. Do you need a moment to collect yourself before we continue? Or shall I keep talking? Good to hear it. Moving on, we gotta talk about sleep schedules. Being diurnal's fine if we're expecting you to go on with everyday human monotony, but since life as you know it now revolves around yours truly, well, we're gonna have to work on that. Just a bit. I don't have much to do today in terms of meetings outside the office, so you'll be staying with me, filling out some paperwork while I handle some calls. That being said, are you exhausted? You look exhausted. I don't doubt it. Poor thing. Cooped up in those pens, woken up at odd hours. They really ought to treat y'all better down there. But unfortunately for you, I'm gonna have to ask you to stay up a little longer. Not too long now. Just, say, 4 more hours or so. Till sunrise, at least. If I've learned anything about humans these last several decades, it's that your circadian rhythms are fickle and hard to train. Even so much as one night of insomnia can throw y'all off for days. I don't really want to risk letting you around natural light sources for a while I'm retraining your body to sleep during the daytime hours. Well, that means you'll be sharing a room with me for a while. Oh, hush now, don't go getting all riled up over this. It's just because my wing of the suite doesn't have any windows, that's all. Not like you'll be sharing a bed with me. Not unless you feel so inclined. Didn't think so. I'll have someone set you up a cot. You don't have to worry about me preying on you or anything like that. I'm a gentleman. I wouldn't hurt a hair on your pretty little head while you're resting. What use is sneaking up on you anyways? Not when I can simply ask for your blood. Also, I doubt I need to mention this, but if you even think of trying anything while you're in there. Thought so. Now, I don't really have anything else I need to mention, that is, unless you have anything you'd like to ask. Well, unless you're content with watching the walls for hours, you can put any hobbies or amusements, within reason, on that list you're going to be making. Your internet access will be limited and monitored, but it's not much different than what's already available out there as far as where restrictions are concerned. I doubt we'll run into any issues. Just don't go messaging any of your friends with desperate cries for help. No one's helping you. Remember, you don't need help. You're with me. Or you could message them. Give us their, whatever relevant social media is out there currently. Humans go through fads. I don't know. Whatever. You get the point. Oh, that's right. You weren't in that resistance group. Guess we don't need to worry about that after all then. Anything else? What was that? I'm afraid I couldn't quite hear you. See, that's what we would call an out. I was giving you the opportunity to gather some sense before you doubled down and asked something so uncouth. What happened to my last sustained is frankly none of your business. If you're concerned with your safety, I can assure you that your survival is essential for our results. Nothing's gonna happen to you as long as you're with me. And I ain't gonna do nothing to you neither. But I can say that your treatment here might get a bit uncomfortable if you go poking your nose in places where it shouldn't be. That information is above you, sweetheart. Don't be getting too big for your britches now. You seem like a good kid, so I'm willing to let this one slide. But I'd choose your words wisely from now on if I was you. Do you understand? I said, do you understand? Yes, what? What? No. No, that's not that one. Mr. VonCerin is fine. What year do you think this is? Anyways, now that that's settled, you're going to write that permission form for your personal effects. Once you're done with that, go ahead and start reading over the rest of the papers in that there folder. Any more questions arise after that, and I'll answer them once I'm not on the phone, capiche? Right. Oh, and would you look at the time? We finished up with seconds to spare, didn't we? I should be getting a call right about... Council Member George VonCerin speaking. Oh, Lisa, good to hear back from you. Your boy sent the human by.